Most people consider Michael to be the best player of all time.
What do you think?
LeBron is in a class by himself.
No question, Michael is heads and shoulders above everybody else.
LeBron James may be the greatest player to ever play the game.
My mother always told me that if you always want to be better than your idol. And when I grew up, for one, my mother was my hero and Michael Jordan was my idol. So my mother always said if Michael Jordan is going to be your idol, then you want to prepare yourself to be better than him.
I've repeatedly called LeBron James the fake MJ, Prince James. But finally, it came from the real king's mouth, from Michael's mouth.
And I would have never called up Larry, called up Magic and said, hey, let's get together and play on one team.
He'll never be Jordan. This clearly takes him out of the conversation.
Question, Michael is heads and shoulders above everybody else. He not only dominated on offense and defense.
He was the best fundamental player in basketball, and that's what everyone sees the dunks and they see the highlights. But he was the first, to me, the first athlete to come into the game with fundamental skills as his basis, and then his athleticism just took him to where he is today.
Can he challenge Michael for that mythical title?
Well, I think he can.
Never before or since has there been a dominant player in the NBA like Michael Jordan. Analysts argue that no one would ever be able to top him. But now, in his 10th season, the one they call King James may have what it takes to unthrone MJ. In this podcast, we'll examine both of these stars at the age of 28 and share the results of our research as to who people believe is the most dominant player of these two.
You're out of your mind. There is no way that LeBron will ever beat Jordan. Nobody will ever beat Jordan, okay?
Okay, LeBron's a better rebounder and passer.
Will you let me finish? Can you let me finish? Call me when LeBron has 6 championships.
Is that your only argument?
It's the only argument I need, Sean!
As you can see from the previous clip, the popular opinion to this day is that Michael Jordan is the better player than LeBron James. We as a group wanted to test this opinion, so we formulated an online survey where we asked 30 people who they believed was the better player. We chose an online survey because it was the fastest and easiest way to obtain the data that we needed. In comparing Michael Jordan and LeBron James, our null hypothesis is that the amount of people who believe Michael Jordan is the better player would be equal to the amount of people that thought LeBron James is the better player. The alternative hypothesis would be that the amount of people who believe Michael Jordan is the better player is not equal to the amount of people who believe that LeBron James is the better player. From the data collected from our survey, the sample size was 30. Of those 30, 23 of them chose Michael Jordan as the better player. Only 7 of them chose LeBron James as the better player. The hypothesis testing we chose is the Z-test. The reason we chose this test is because the data results of the survey are categorical, therefore calling for Z-test. For the test parameters, we have the following. The Z-test statistic is 4.1312. The critical values were negative 1.96 on the lower end and 1.96 on the upper end. With these numbers, we see that the test statistic of 4.1312 falls beyond the region of non-rejection. The results of the Z-test are that our null hypothesis is rejected. This means that the amount of people who think Michael Jordan is better than LeBron James is not equal to the amount of people who think that Michael Jordan is better than LeBron James. What can be inferred from the study is that Michael Jordan is overwhelmingly still considered to be a better player over LeBron James. Other findings we had with our survey is that everyone who was over the age of 25 chose Michael Jordan as the better player, as where the younger participants chose Michael Jordan and LeBron James. One other question we had was the favorite teams of the survey participants, and there was a bias towards LeBron James from the Miami Heat fans. The only thing that was surprising is the large favorability towards Michael Jordan. We expected the numbers to be a bit more even. All in all, the survey succeeded in answering the question we posed. Up to this point, Michael Jordan is considered the greatest, but only time will tell who really is the GOAT, or the greatest of all time. Michael Jordan or LeBron James? You decide.